What's the emergency, please?
My boyfriend and I just heard something very strange. We heard gunshots and also screaming, and the screaming sounded, pretty close. And then, when it stopped, the last shot, it was quiet.
Lauren had dated Trooper Santos for a period of time and broke up with him last year. And there were warnings that Trooper Santos had personality issues and was a danger to others.
Janine Semanchik says not only did her daughter tell police that her ex-boyfriend, New Jersey State Trooper Ricardo Santos, was stalking and harassing her, that she also told another state trooper who worked with Santos.
Every police agency she asked for help failed her.
Attorneys for the Semanchik family say Franklin Township Police never returned Lauren's call, that plea for help.
I was looking to file a police report or potentially even a restraining order against my ex-boyfriend who has been harassing me.
The Franklin Township Police Department had an absolute obligation to contact the state police.
She was failed by every single law enforcement agency that she went to for help.
A New Jersey sergeant facing charges in connection with the double of a couple in Hunterdon County. Instead of immediately responding to the scene back in August, investigators say he drove more than a mile in the wrong direction to take money from an ATM.
Blue wall of silence is where police officers protect their own. Even when there's allegations against one of them, they look the other way. And that's what happened here.
Well, gee!
Dr. Lauren Semanchik feared for her life after going through months of stalking and harassment at the hands of her ex-boyfriend, who, if you haven't put two and two together by now, is a cop. Well, was a cop. He was a cop. Now, eventually, Dr. Semanchik would reach out to local and state police for help, trying to get her crazy stalker ex-boyfriend cop to back off. And she was ignored. But the final blow came on August 1st of this year, when neighbors of Dr. Semanchik called 911 after hearing screams and multiple shots fired. But once again, the local police failed Dr. Semanchik, because you will not believe what the responding officer did next. Now, of course, there is a lot more to this story. So, to better understand what's happening, why don't we go back to the beginning? 33-year-old New Jersey veterinarian Dr. Lauren Semanchik would get into an accident in late 2023. Following this accident, Dr. Semanchik would find herself in a wheelchair after breaking both of her feet, which meant she had a little bit more time on her hands. So in February of 2024, Dr. Lauren Semanchik, who I'm just going to call Lauren from now on, decided to dive into the world of online dating. And for those of you who haven't had that pleasure, count your blessings, because online dating's a nightmare. But I digress. Now, Lauren would wind up connecting with a New Jersey State Trooper, 45-year-old Ricardo Santos, who's obviously a little older than her, being 33, but at first, Lauren would describe Ricardo to friends as her knight in shining armor, stating Ricardo was very attentive and even took her on multiple wheelchair dates despite the circumstances. So obviously, at first for Lauren, everything seemed to be going great, but that honeymoon phase didn't last for long. According to Lauren, in just a matter of a few months, as Lauren recovered from those two broken feet, Ricardo would become very erratic and controlling, leading Lauren to break things off with Ricardo in September of 2024 after only dating for several months. And let's just say Ricardo didn't take it that well. Between October of 2024 and May of 2025, the 20-plus year veteran with the New Jersey State Police, Ricardo Santos, began stalking and harassing Lauren at her workplace and at home. She began receiving a barrage of harassing text messages and phone calls from Ricardo Santos. A lot of them pleading for a second chance, which, guys, don't do that. It's not a good look. Now, when Lauren refused to give Ricardo a second chance, those phone calls would turn into verbal abuse and threats.
And there were warnings that Trooper Santos had personality issues and was a danger to others. Lauren had dated Trooper Santos for a period of time and broke up with him last year. At that point, all of a sudden, abusive behavior began. He made numerous calls, numerous texts, and numerous unwelcome visits to her place of employment and to her home.
That would escalate into some pretty scary situations for Lauren, like when she found a hidden recording device in her home, and later when she discovered that somebody had put a large amount of water in her gas tank.
Allison Semanchik says Santos harassed her sister for nearly a year after the two broke up. She says it's documented in text messages between Lauren Semanchik and Santos. In one text, Semanchik telling Santos, quote, "I feel threatened," and accusing him of planting recording devices in her bedroom, then saying, "So where did you learn this information? I do not feel safe continuing to speak to you."
Now, Lauren would keep this quiet at first because she didn't want Ricardo to lose his job with the New Jersey State Police. So she quietly reached out to a friend and colleague of Ricardo's at the New Jersey State Police in an attempt to stop the harassment. But that didn't work.
Janine Semanchik says not only did her daughter tell police that her ex-boyfriend, New Jersey State Trooper Ricardo Santos, was stalking and harassing her, that she also told another state trooper who worked with Santos, who was part of Governor Phil Murphy's security detail. They say no one in law enforcement did anything.
On May 19th, 2025, Lauren was walking out of work at Long Valley Animal Hospital when she noticed that somebody had keyed her car, leaving Lauren no choice but to file a police report with the Washington Township Police where she worked. Now, Lauren would obviously go on to tell the Washington Township Police that she suspected Ricardo did this, stating that she didn't have a problem with anybody else and nobody knew her car or where she worked. Now, that Washington Township police officer who took Lauren's report actually called Ricardo, who obviously denied everything. But that Washington Township police officer would go on to tell Ricardo to leave Lauren alone, which fell on deaf ears. Now, the following day, on May 20th of this year, Lauren went to the local police department where she lives, the Franklin Township Police Department, to file a restraining order against Ricardo. However, when Lauren got down to the Franklin Township Police Department, she was told that there wasn't any officers available to take her report. But the receptionist at the desk did give Lauren a phone number to call and contact an officer.
Lauren became so alarmed that she went to the local police department, the Franklin Township Police Department, and she walked in and said, "I'm alarmed, I'm concerned, and I'm in danger, and I want to report this. I want to know how I can get a restraining order." She was turned away and told that there was no one there for her to talk to, but that she could call a number. She got back to her house, and she immediately called that number and made the report.
Now, Lauren would immediately make that phone call, but unfortunately, nobody answered. And here is the voicemail that she left.
Hi there, my name is Lauren Semanchik, and I live at Upper Kingstown Road in Pittstown, New Jersey. I was looking to file a police report or potentially even a restraining order against my ex-boyfriend who has been harassing me. He placed recording devices in my home, has continued to text me and call me, and then I just came out last night from work and my car had been keyed, and I have no idea who did it, but I don't have anybody else in my life with any animosity. He's also a state trooper, so I'm especially uncomfortable. I just stopped in the office, but nobody was available, so the girl at the front desk gave me this number. If you could give me a call back when you have a moment, that would be great. My phone number is, thank you.
However, unfortunately for Lauren, the Franklin Township Police Department never returned that phone call.
No one called her back. Franklin Township Police Department did absolutely nothing after having this complaint. Now, the state of New Jersey Attorney General, law enforcement directors require that a police department, once there's an allegation of abuse against a police officer, to take action. As soon as this complaint was made, the Franklin Township Police Department had an absolute obligation to contact the state police, and at that point, the state police would be obligated to take control and to make sure that all revolvers, all service weapons, any other firearms that were licensed to Trooper Santos would be removed, and that it would be put on administrative leave, and that they would do an investigation. Nothing was done here.
Now, despite dealing with all this crazy behavior from Ricardo over the past 6 or 8 months, everything wasn't all bad for Lauren at this time. In May of this year, Lauren actually met another guy, 29-year-old Tyler Webb, at a May Day Parade concert. Lauren began talking to another woman at the concert, Angela Webb, who was there with her brother, 29-year-old Tyler Webb. Angela would wind up introducing Lauren to her brother Tyler, and they hit it off, exchanging phone numbers before the concert was over. Now, just a quick side note, I actually have a weird connection to May Day Parade. Way back like 15, 16 years ago, their manager contacted the ambulance company that I was running at the time, and they needed an ambulance and some EMTs for a music video they were trying to shoot. Fast forward to a couple weeks later, and the lead singer for May Day Parade shows up at the station, and we shoot a music video. This one right here. The big guy you see is Rob, he's an EMT, and the other guy on the side, that's Chris. He's a paramedic. Two great guys that used to work for me years ago. And for those of you who want to check out the full music video, the title to the song is Stay. I just thought that was a weird connection, but back to the case. Now, Tyler and Lauren would quickly hit it off. Apparently, in the short couple months that they were dating, friends and family stated that Lauren and Tyler developed a pretty tight bond, sharing a love and passion for music and animals. Tragically, that deep bond wouldn't last for long. On August 1st of this year, Dr. Lauren Semanchik was seen getting in her car and leaving work around 5:25 in the afternoon on security camera footage. But also seen in that security camera footage was a 2008 Mercedes SUV following Lauren out of the parking lot. The same kind of SUV owned by Ricardo Santos. Now, just a short time later at 5:57 p.m., security camera footage shows Lauren arriving to her home in Pittstown, New Jersey, but also again in that security camera footage, Ricardo can be seen following her from behind. About 15 minutes later at 6:11 p.m., Ricardo can be seen in security camera footage kind of walking along the wood line on the side of Lauren's driveway. But apparently he waits. About a half hour later at 6:45 p.m., Lauren's new boyfriend, Tyler Webb, can be seen arriving to her home, which is the last time Tyler is seen alive. About 20 minutes later at 7:08 p.m., the first 911 call is made from a neighbor of Lauren's. Here is that 911 phone call.
And I don't know if I'm watching too many movies or what, but, my boyfriend and I just heard something very strange. We heard gunshots and also screaming. And the screaming sounded, pretty close. And then, when it stopped, the last shot, it was quiet. And then I thought it was kids maybe laughing or something. I couldn't tell. We had music going.
Okay.
And, yeah, anyway.
We have patrol responding out to the area to check it out, okay?
And again, I hope I'm not bothering anybody, but it was too weird.
Not only did that 911 caller state that they heard gunshots, they also stated hearing screaming prior to those gunshots, which should immediately have made this an emergency priority for responding officers, Franklin Township Police. After receiving that initial 911 call for the shots fired and screams, Franklin Township Police Officer Sergeant Kevin Bolero was dispatched on this call. Now, due to the nature of this 911 call, Sergeant Kevin Bolero should have immediately responded lights and sirens to the area where the gunshots were heard. However, that's not what he did. Instead, Sergeant Bolero drove 1.5 miles in the opposite direction of this 911 call to go to the ATM and admittedly made a personal transaction. Now, while Sergeant Bolero was taking his time to respond to this very serious 911 call, several more 911 calls for hearing those gunshots fired would come into the Hunterdon County Dispatch Center. Here are those calls.
Franklin Township Police.
Hi, I'm sorry. We don't typically do this, but we just heard something that sounded really strange.
Over Upper Kingtown
there
Road
were
area?
about 7-ish gunshots. We thought we heard some screaming, and then the noises stopped. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, Upper Kingtown Road area?
We're on White Bridge Road.
Okay, yeah, we have a report of that, yeah.
Okay.
About 5,
yeah,
6
it was
shots,
about like 5-ish minutes ago, and it just sounded really weird, so we felt like we had to say something.
Yeah, I have an officer on his way in the area.
Okay.
911, where's the emergency?
It's not actually on this property, but I just heard a bunch of gunshots because it sounded very loud.
Okay, and
it's
what's
not
the
hunting
address?
season. On Upper Kingtown Road. It's not on this property. I just heard it from this property, and I heard some screaming. Like I'm up on the hill, so it sounded like down the hill, and maybe.
How many of them did you hear?
5
Just
6.
round about 5 to 6. And that's just before you called?
Yeah, no, it was very loud. I mean, but sound really carries here. Yeah,
All right, I'll send patrol out to the area. If it continues to happen, just give us a call back, but I got them going your way.
Okay, I haven't heard anything since. It was the screaming that made me a little nervous.
But it was right before you called, correct?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, not a problem. I'll send them someone out.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Now, after ignoring that 911 call to first make his transaction at the ATM, Sergeant Kevin Bolero would eventually make his way over to the area where the gunshots were heard. And once he got to the area, apparently Sergeant Bolero spent an entire 12 minutes investigating the call, where he would go on to lie in his report about his investigation and the time spent in the area. Now, after spending an entire 12 minutes investigating the call and talking with that initial 911 caller, which was merely 600 feet away from Lauren's home, after all that hard work, Sergeant Bolero decided he was hungry. So he then drove into town to Duke's Pizza, where he spent the next 50 minutes eating dinner. And this was around 7:40 p.m. After eating his pizza, Sergeant Bolero would then spend the next hour here at Pitt's Inn, where he just kind of hung out and talked to the customers of the business. And again, after all that hard work, it looks like it was time for a nap. After leaving Pitt's Inn from 11:27 p.m. to 4:33 a.m., the GPS on Sergeant Bolero's patrol car has him sitting at the local cemetery, not taking a nap at all. For 5 consecutive hours, Sergeant Bolero did absolutely nothing.
Officials say GPS data shows Bolero only spent 12 minutes investigating the scene at 41 Upper Kingtown Road, located less than 600 feet from where Semanchik, a veterinarian, and her boyfriend, Tyler Webb, a volunteer firefighter, were found dead with a gunshot wound. Prosecutors also accused Bolero of submitting a report with false statements.
Bolero later submitted a report documenting his investigation into the calls for service on August 1st, 2025, in which he falsely stated that he was unable to make contact with the caller from White Bridge Road. GPS data and surveillance footage showed that during the period he claimed to be canvassing Upper Kington Road, Bolero was not in the immediate area, but he was en route to Duke's Pizzeria in Pittstown.
Now, during this entire time, from 7:08 p.m. when Sergeant Bolero was initially dispatched on the shots fired call to 7 a.m. when he got off shift, he never once returned to the area to try and investigate that shots fired call, which, remember, came in as hearing screaming and then multiple gunshots followed by pure silence. Tragically, the next day, August 2nd of this year, just after 12 o'clock in the afternoon, Lauren's father arrives to her home because he was supposed to go there to pick up Lauren and Tyler and take them to a concert. However, he came upon something that no father should ever see. Lauren's father would find the deceased bodies of his daughter and Tyler Webb on the back deck of her home, having suffered multiple gunshot wounds. I can't even begin to imagine what was going through Lauren's father's head. Now, obviously, Lauren's father called 911 and an investigation started immediately, with Ricardo Santos being the prime suspect. However, on that same day, about 30 minutes away from Lauren's home in a park, Ricardo Santos was found dead inside his SUV, having suffered a self-inflicted shot to the head. Now, almost immediately, the detectives investigating this shooting found some major red flags. And just days after the shooting, on August 7th, the Hunterdon County Prosecutor's Office took over the Franklin Township Police Department where Sergeant Bolero worked. And they put the chief of police for Franklin Township and Sergeant Bolero on administrative leave.
The Franklin Township Police Department has now been taken over by the Hunterdon County Prosecutor's Office amid the murder-suicide investigation. Investigators say the trooper stalked and then murdered veterinarian Lauren Semanchik and Tyler Webb in Franklin Township Friday night. But there are concerns over the police department's handling of the case, including how they responded to a 911 call made that night by a neighbor. Well, many other neighbors say the officer never got out of the car to investigate.
Several weeks later, on August 21st, both Tyler and Lauren's family announced their intentions to sue not only the Franklin Township Police Department, but the New Jersey State Police and several others involved for failing to act on Lauren's repeated attempts to reach out to law enforcement and get help dealing with her ex-boyfriend, Ricardo Santos, which she was obviously ignored.
33-year-old Lauren Semanchik, who was shot and killed by an ex-boyfriend who was a New Jersey State Trooper. He also killed Semanchik's boyfriend before taking his own life.
Her family now filing a lawsuit against the New Jersey State Police and Franklin Township Police. They say one of their goals is to make sure stalking victims are protected in the future.
My ex-boyfriend, who has been harassing me.
Attorneys for the Semanchik family say Franklin Township Police never returned Lauren's call, that plea for help.
Lauren did everything right. She was concise, she was detailed, she was calm.
Janine Semanchik says not only did her daughter tell police that her ex-boyfriend, New Jersey State Trooper Ricardo Santos, was stalking and harassing her, that she also told another state trooper who worked with Santos, who was part of Governor Phil Murphy's security detail. They say no one in law enforcement did anything. Governor Murphy responding today on News 12 New Jersey.
And then if that weren't enough, somebody who was in our midst for the entire time, virtually the entire time I've been governor. Just an awful, awful, shocking tragedy and loss of innocent life.
Semanchik and Webb's bodies were discovered outside by her father more than 17 hours later. The family wants everyone that they believe could have prevented the murders to be held accountable.
Blue wall of silence is where police officers protect their own. Even when there's allegations against one of them, they look the other way.
At every opportunity law enforcement had to help Lauren, she was failed. Now, fast forward to just a couple of weeks ago, on August 23rd of this year, Sergeant Kevin Bolero was criminally charged with second-degree official misconduct, which is a felony, and tampering with records for making that false report. The Hunterdon County Prosecutor's Office is handling this investigation, and from their actions so far, it looks like they're actually holding people accountable so far. If you have any information on this case, please contact Sergeant Patel or Detective Brooks with the Hunterdon County Prosecutor's Office at this number. And that's all, folks. I will try and keep you up to date in the community post on this case, so keep an eye out there if you're looking for updates. Now, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. My name is Cy, and my channel is Dark Times with Nico and Cy. If you haven't already, please make sure to like the video and leave a comment. I try and read and answer as many comments as I can because I want to hear from you. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Subscribing costs you nothing, and it really helps push my content out to a wider audience, and it's very much appreciated. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.